Sometimes the most profound patterns, the blueprints that shape our world, are hidden in places you'd never ever think to look. Today, we're going to connect two of those places, a deeply human story of struggle and a completely technical piece of software logic. It's going to be a fascinating ride. And this quote, this is really the heart of our entire explainer. It comes from a story of incredible resilience, and it perfectly sets the stage. It tells us that challenges aren't just obstacles to get around, they're the actual building blocks of the path forward. So let's start with that story. It's about a young man named Amir Khan, born into really difficult circumstances, where dreams, well, they seemed like a luxury he couldn't afford. His story is our first blueprint. Now, just take a look at this timeline. It's not just a list of events. It's a story of escalating challenges. At 12, his childhood is basically cut short. By 17, he's on his own in a huge city. At 20, he finally gets a little break, a tiny foothold, and then, bam, a year later, a huge crisis hits. See how each event forces a reaction, a new step on his path. To really, truly understand his starting point, just look at this number. This is all the money he had to his name when he set out to build a new life. 850 rupees. It's such a stark reminder of just how steep his climb was going to be. All right, so hold Amir's story in your mind for a second. We're about to make a sharp, hard turn into a completely different universe. I mean, get ready for a major context shift, because this is where that hidden blueprint really starts to come into focus. And here it is, the central mystery we're trying to solve. How on earth can a life so full of emotion, struggle, and the human spirit, how can that possibly relate to something as cold and logical as software? This is the other side of that coin. It's a phrase ripped right out of a software manual. It sounds completely impersonal, totally detached from any kind of human experience, right? Well, let's see about that. So, here's the secret sauce, the thing that connects them. Both of these worlds, Amir's life and this piece of software, they both operate based on a set of rules. There's a hidden logic that dictates what happens next. And that logic, it actually has a name. That name is workflow. And it's actually pretty simple. It's just a sequence of steps you take to get from a starting point to some kind of outcome. Whether you're building a career from nothing or just approving a purchase order, you are following a workflow. This is our common thread. Okay, so let's really break this down. The first parallel is how every single workflow, human or digital, gets started. It doesn't just begin on its own. It needs a trigger, a specific event that kicks the whole process into gear. And this slide just lays it out perfectly. For Amir, the trigger was a tragic accident that completely changed his life's path. For the software, the trigger is just someone creating a new purchase order. Both are completely different starting guns, but they do the exact same thing. They start the workflow. But it's not just about the start. Workflows are guided by conditions. It's all based on that simple if this, then that logic. For Amir, if the shop is on fire, then he has to do something, and fast. For the software, if an order is over $1,000, then it needs an extra approval. See? It's the same exact logic, just in two completely different worlds. So once a workflow gets going, progress isn't just automatic. It happens in a sequence, in steps. And a lot of the time, you need permission to move from one step to the next. You need to get past the gatekeepers. Just look at Amir's path to getting ahead. It was a clear sequence. He couldn't just ask for a promotion on day one. He had to complete these steps first, learn the business, prove his worth, and in the end, earn the trust of his boss. Now look at the software's path. It's the same concept, isn't it? A step is defined, a specific role is assigned to approve it, there's a deadline, conditions have to be checked. It's like a super rigid, procedural version of the exact same journey Amir was on. So this is the real aha moment. The shop owner, the guy who had to be convinced to give Amir a chance, he's the human equivalent of the manager role in the software. They're both gatekeepers, and they both hold the key to getting to the next step. But what happens when things go wrong? When there's an unexpected crisis or a system error. Well, a good workflow, whether it's human or digital, it has to have a plan for that. It has to be able to handle exceptions. This table is really cool because it shows the different responses. When the fire hits, Amir has to improvise to show courage. When the software hits an error, it just follows a rule it was already given. Restart workflow. One is creative, the other is purely logical. But both are designed to do the same thing. Manage the crisis and keep the process moving forward. So when we strip it all down, we see these same 5 principles at work, in both Amir's life and in the software's code. You need a trigger, a sequence of steps, conditions that guide you, gatekeepers who approve your progress, and a plan for when things inevitably go wrong. That's the universal blueprint. And this is really the ultimate takeaway, isn't it? The goal underneath it all is identical. It's about creating a structured, logical path that can navigate all the challenges to get you to a successful outcome. Doesn't matter if that outcome is building an empire or just getting a purchase order approved. Which brings us right back where we started. When we hear Amir say this now, we can see it in a whole new light. Each struggle wasn't just random chaos. It was a required step in his workflow, a condition he had to meet, a test from a gatekeeper that, once he passed it, unlocked the next stage of his entire life. So I'll just leave you with this question to think about. When you look at your own journey, your career, your personal projects, your growth, can you see the patterns? Can you spot the triggers, the conditions, the gatekeepers? What are the hidden workflows that are building your path forward?